Hey guys and gals, in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your domains inside of your GoHighLevel account. If you're an AlphaBlossom CRM member, then this is going to apply to you as well. Now, it's a little confusing because there's several different places where you set up your domains, and what this does is it allows you to just have your own custom domains instead of using, like in our case, if you're an AlphaBlossom CRM member, your domain might be crm.alphablossom.com. You probably want to brand it with your own domain, so I'm going to show you how to set those all up. There's several places where you can set those up. So inside of your high level, you have several different places to set these up, and I'm going to cover them all one at a time. We're going to start with the branded domain. The branded domain is the domain that you use if you're going to be sharing forms, payment links, and things like that directly instead of embedding them into a page. So I'm going to show you how to do that so that your branded domain will carry your own brand instead of using our AlphaBlossom, or depending on whatever agency you're on, instead of using their domain. Next up is going to be funnels, websites, stores, so that would be e-commerce, webinars, and blogs. So you can set up those front-facing domains so that when people go to visit those live pages, they're going to see your domain instead of just generic domain as well. Next up is WordPress. If you're using WordPress inside of your high-level account, I'll show you how to set up your WordPress domain as well so that that site has its own custom domain. And the big one is email. You're going to be sending emails from the system, and email deliverability is super important. So I'm going to show you how to set up all your email domains, including the DNS records that go along with it. It can be a little bit confusing. I'll show you some tips if you stay to the end on email too, in terms of how to improve your deliverability, setting email headers and things like that. And then within emails, you can also customize your calendar link. So when your calendar notifications go out, you can have a specific email link for that. So it could be like calendars.alphablossom.com or whatever you want to use. And then finally is going to be client portal. So if you're using the client portal, if you have your own private communities, memberships, things like that, we're going to show you how to set those up as well. So let's just jump straight into it. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to click that subscribe button, like this video, and follow us for more. And if you're new to high level, or if you're considering it, we've got a 30-day free trial link down below along with the bootcamp. And also I've got a free community down below you can join if you want to follow along and learn more about high level, have questions and things like that. You're welcome to post in our community. So let's jump into it, and I'll see you on the other side. First thing we're going to do is going to go into branded domains. So if you go into settings and you go to just your default business profile, you'll see a field here that says branded domain. Now let me go back out and show you what that does. So we're going to look at this site. I'm going to go to sites. This is just one of my demo sites. I'm going to come to forms here. And you see I've got some different forms here. So if I look at this form and I go to preview, or let's say integrate, share it. So I'm going to copy the link here, and let's just take a look at that link. You can see the link is apps.alphablossom.com. So this is my CRM link. So everybody that's a member of my CRM agency is going to have this as their default branded domain. But it'd be a much better experience if you had this as your own domain so that it kept in line with your branding. So that's what we're going to customize with the branded domain. So we're going to go back out to the site that I'm working on, and that's going to be GoBonsai, which is my social media app. And so I'm going to come into settings, and right away we'll be in business profile, and I'm going to just add, for mine it's going to be just link.gobonsai.ai. So basically when someone shares a form or a payment, it's going to start with link, but the gobonsai.ai is going to be my own brand, which is what my website domain is. So let me just come to this website here and just show you. So this is my main website, gobonsai.ai. This is my beta wait list here for half off for the first 100 members. But I want to keep the main domain the same, but obviously I can't use gobonsai.ai because I'm using that for my website. So adding the link in front of it allows me to use my root domain and then have this section here specifically for my branded domains here. You got some information here that tells you we're just going to add the domain, and I recommend having everything inside of Cloudflare for several reasons. I've got a lot of videos talking about that, so I won't get into that here. But if you just come in here and click continue, it's going to automatically connect to my Cloudflare. And so now you can see it's retrieving my records, it's looking up my Cloudflare connection, and then it's going to say authorized domain. You can actually open this and see what records are going to be added if you're curious. We don't need to worry about that. We're just going to authorize the domain. It's going to go to Cloudflare and tell me it's okay to authorize. So I'll click that and say yes. And then it says it could take up to 30 seconds to do this. So now one point about DNS records, technically they can take up to 48 hours to work through the system. Typically it's going to be anywhere from instant to 10-15 minutes. If you're going over 10-15 minutes, I would just double check your settings. Maybe you've missed something. These days, I never see anything taking more than 15 minutes or so, an hour to go through max. So yeah, I would just keep an eye on that. So now you can see I've got the link, gobonsai.com. If I want to modify it, I can. But now if I go create a form or a payment link or something like that, it's going to use this link instead of the AlphaBlossom default link for the CRM here. So that's how you set up your branded domain. Just to keep it in line with your domain, I recommend taking a few minutes to do this as one of your first priorities. So now I'm going to show you how to set up your domain for funnels and websites and things like that. And now we're going to go to domains and URL redirects. You're going to see you have the option to purchase domains inside of our CRM, but we don't need to purchase. We just want to connect our existing. And you can see down here we have an external domain already for our Cloudflare that's working for the link.gobonsai.ai. Instead of managing this, we want to just connect a new domain because we want to connect something for our funnel. So we're going to click connect. It's going to bring you to this screen here where you can decide which domain you want to set up. And so we want to do funnel, website, store, blog, and webinar. So we'll just say connect there. Now I am using gobonsai.ai somewhere else because it's tied to my app with database and things like that. But just want to show you how you would set this up if you're going to use this. So we're going to say, let's go shibuya13.com. This is the domain we're going to use here. And then it's going to ask you, do you also want to add www? So what happens is the best practices is to have all traffic route to either www version or non-www version. So I'm going to use the non-www version. And I'm going to check this box so that it sets up the records in case somebody types www. But this is going to automatically forward to the non-www version. So Google's going to only see the non-www version. So you want to check this box. And if you prefer to have the www show, then in here you would come and say www.shibuya13.com. And then you can check the box to also add the root version without the www subdomain in front of it. So for me, I'm going to do it without www. Okay, now I'm going to click continue and it's going to take me over into Cloudflare to authorize this. So let's just make sure we're good. And you can see what records are added. So it's going to add an A record and then it's going to add the www here and that's going to forward to the A record. So we'll just authorize that and click authorize. And then it will just take a minute to authorize this and then we'll be good to go. Now you can add unlimited domains also. So if you have a bunch of domains you want to use for different funnels or things like that, you can do that. I'm going to show you one other option that you can do here. In my case, I'm using gobonsai.ai as my main website domain, but there's another option we'll show you in just a minute. Now, once your domain is added, now you can select, is this for funnel, website, store, blog, or webinar? And then you can come in here, and if you have a funnel here, it'll show you which funnel so you can connect it so that this will be the main domain, will take you to this funnel. You've got additional options, a 404 error page, which I recommend creating your own custom page. I've got some other videos on that, and then just proceed to finish. So I don't have anything in here currently. Now I'm going to show you one other thing you can do. I'm going to connect a domain, and I'm going to do another funnel website. So go.gobonsai.ai. This is going to allow me to use this domain inside of my CRM for funnels, blogs, things like that if I want to, and then still preserve https gobonsai.ai for my main website and then app.gobonsai.ai for my app. So it's just a workaround if you're already using your domain somewhere else and you want to still be able to use this here. Having the subdomain is a great way to do that. So this will just take a minute and this will be done and ready to go. When this is done, I'm going to flip into another account and just show you what it would look like here when you go to manage pages and things like that. So you'll have a better understanding of that as well. All right, so I can proceed to finish. And I could select this for other things. So now you can see here I have both of these, link and go. These are subdomains. So for Go Bonsai, I can come in here and edit this. I can say which page I want, which website, and then here, funnels or others. So I can assign this actually to funnels, blogs, all of that stuff. So now that it's set up, it's a little tough to tell by looking at the labeling, but I can assign this to any of those categories, shops, blogs, any of those things. So now we're going to just switch over really quickly to another sub account of mine, and now you see I've got some different domains here. So if you come in here to manage, and now you see I've got my website here, and you go to edit that, This is where you can select which page you want to be the main page for this domain. So if somebody comes to gobonsai.ai, I can say what page I want them to land on. And then also I can have custom 404 page here. So if somebody types in the wrong URL, I can have a page that's going to redirect them to where I want them to go. And you've got a section here where you can enter your robots.text code. So if you don't want AI scanning the site, or you don't want certain search engines or whatever, you can block certain pages from being indexed, things like that. So that's all through these setups here as well. So that's it for the funnels and stores. Now if you go to, let's say you go to blogs, and you've got a blog here. And now we're inside our blog, and I want to go to settings. So this is where you can select the domain. So once you have the domain, you can come in here and select it. And with blogs, I can use the same blog. So if I'm using alphablossom.com for the website part of here, I can also use it for a blog because the ending is going to be different. So it is integrated to be a seamless integration. If you're using AI Studio, you can't use the same domain in multiple places. But with blogs, they have it worked out. So it will be like a seamless integration as an extension. So just to show you where you can select these for different parts of the apps. Again, there's a lot of different moving parts here. So feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, or reach out and be happy to help. But this is a really good overview to help you get started. So that's it for funnels, websites. Again, if you go to funnels and you click into any one of your funnels, same thing, you just go to settings and you can select which domain you want to use here. So you can see I've got go.alphablossom. I can do alphablossom.com. So you can select whatever domain you want to use here as well. So it's just the same throughout the platform. Every one of these front-facing parts of the app allows you to select the domain you want to use. And next up, we're going to set up the WordPress domain. So if you come in here, I'm going to go to a account where I have a WordPress set up. WordPress is an optional feature. It allows you to just manage your WordPress site from inside of your dash directly. It's very convenient because it allows you to update your site. It allows you to do backups, analytics, check out your plugins, themes, all kinds of stuff. So very cool. And then down here, if you scroll down, you've got your manage your domains. So here you can add a domain. So I'm going to add this domain, and I'm going to say WP for WordPress, gobonsai.ai, and then auto configure. So then this is going to do the same thing. It's just going to get the SSL certificate set up. Very important for your security, but that's all done automatically. It's going to connect the records and push them into Cloudflare, just like we did with the websites. But since your WordPress site is a completely different beast, it's hosted on its own, has its own database, things like that, then it has a different configuration than the normal domain setup. So it's separate than your normal funnels, websites, blogs, and that type of thing. I'm just going to pause the video. This will go pretty quickly, but I'm just going to pause the video to save some time. Okay, so now it's moving. So now it's on to the next step, setting up your domain. It just took about a minute or so, so it's not too long. And then you can kind of see down below, it's a little grayed out, but the records are going to be adding. It's just a CNAME pointing to the WordPress site. And then you can see what records will be added here. Authorize the domain. Authorize that, and the same message could take up to 30 seconds before these get pushed through. So this will spin for 30 seconds, and then once this is up and running, once I click this, it's just going to allow me to go to my WordPress site. I'm not going to be able to really show you the demo. My WordPress site is actually used for our help videos inside of here. I'll show you them inside the dash once this is done, but I've got some code set up to block it so that anybody outside of the app cannot view the site. Shame on me, but that's it. So let's just go and open up a tab and then see if this is showing yet. Yeah, I should see a warning saying you don't have authorization. Yeah, so this is my site. Basically, you don't have authorization to see this. Inside of the app, I've got these help videos that's powered by a WordPress website. And so this would be the WordPress website, the videos. I got jump links, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, you can see we've got quite a few videos in here for our members. And so let's just go back to the WordPress just to give you an overview on that. So WordPress, manage websites. Now you can see I've got the site added here, gobonsai.ai. And if you want to delete these, you can. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to delete. This was a test I was doing below. I'm going to delete that. And I'm actually going to delete this one as well. But before I do, I just want to make sure everything's set up so you can understand how it works. So the SSL is pending. We need to make sure that's working. So let's click Verify DNS Records. Yeah, and you want these to be green like they are here. So now everything is working as expected. And then if you come in here, you can set this to be your primary domain. So with WordPress, you can have multiple domains pointing to the site, and you can set a primary one. So what's going to be the main domain for this? Reconfigure your DNS settings here. or you can just delete it, which we're going to do in this case since we're not really using that. So if you're using WordPress, consider moving it inside here, inside of your CRM. It just gives you a really convenient way to manage everything. So you've got advanced settings, cache management, debugging. You can adjust your PHP version of your site, all kinds of cool stuff, access your PHP admin. So yeah, it's super cool. But that's how you would set up the domains once you get the WordPress site all set up inside of your CRM. Next up is email. This is the big one. This is where people really get hung up. I see all the time people posting about email deliverability being poor and things like that. A huge part of it has to do with your email configuration. GoHighLevel makes it super easy. So we're going to go into settings. We're going to go to email services. And it's got some messages here on how you can improve it. It's saying create a dedicated domain. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to just click that. It's going to take us in here to add a new domain name. So I'm not using really, this is a brand new domain here. So I'm going to just set up my basic email. I'm going to call it mail.gobonsai.ai. So the key is anything that's sent through the app is going to be sent from @mail@gobonsai.ai. It's still going to work like normal, but behind the scenes, it's going to show that. Google, Outlook, all those are going to respect that because it's matching my actual email domain. So it's not an issue just by adding the subdomain, but I need to have the subdomain because I'm already using @gobonsai.ai. So I need to have different versions of that to allow the CRM to send email on behalf of my domain. But this part has to match. Otherwise, they're going to have a lot of problems. So I'm going to actually set up a few different ones. So the first one is going to be my general one. That's mail. And then we're going to add and verify. And then it's going to do the same thing. It's just going to say connect to Cloudflare. It's going to find the Cloudflare and it's going to automatically add my records. Now this is nice because you have about 5 or 6 different DNS records that you have to add. In the past, you would have to copy and paste each one. There was a lot of room for error. Now it just automatically does it. So it's really nice that it allows you to do that. And you can see what records are going to be added. There's quite a few of them here. They're all important. The DMARC is very important these days, and it's added as none. I think recently we've had this change where it has to be a value here, so we're going to update that later. But I just want you to be aware that if it says P is none when you're watching this, you may want to check that and see if you have to actually add a different value here. But it's going to add all these records for us. These are all the ones that are important for deliverability. We have our domain key here. We have our SPF records up here. So this is SPF. So it adds all these for us. Makes it super easy. Just a couple clicks of the button. You can see all the values here that it's adding, priorities and things like that. So it's really amazing that it does that for us. Like I said in the past, we had to copy and paste all of these. And so now we want to just give it a couple seconds. Just take a look at this. You can see these are all not verified. So you want to click verify domain. And it's still not verified. So it's going to take a little bit of time here. And let's just go back to the previous. Go back to dedicated domains. You can see it's been added here. We want to verify it, so let's just try that again. You can see some of them are verified. Like I said, it takes a little time to work through. These are usually pretty quick, but I've seen the emails a little bit longer than domains sometimes. But let's just try to verify again, and still not there. So we're going to verify it again. Now you can see everything is verified here, but we still have to click the final verify. So we should be approved here. Okay, we're all good to go now. You can see the SSL is issued. So that's it. This is our email domain. Now, the important thing I wanted to show you is if you click on the 3 dots here, I'm going to go to set headers. And this is where we're going to say go bonsai. So this is going to determine throughout the app, anytime an email is sent from this domain, who it's going to show as it's coming from. So when you look at a domain, you see who the email is from. You want it to be your friendly email. So I'm going to say hello@gobonsai.ai. And again, it's important that this last part has to match your domain that you've set up. So if you have something different, you're going to have a lot of problems with spam, or maybe your emails don't even get through. And so we're going to save that. And so again, what that does is the header, any email that's sent coming from mail.gobonsai.ai, the mail.gobonsai.ai is going to show behind the scenes, but when people see who the email is coming from, it's going to show it's coming from hello@gobonsai.ai. So that's what we want. And then whatever name you want people to say this email is coming from, this is where you set that. It's very important to make sure that you do this for consistency. And so the other things we can do is I'm going to add another domain for my calendars, and I'll show you where we can set that up here in just a minute. So here I'm going to just say book.gobonsai.ai. It's the same process, but in a minute I'll show you why I'm setting this up so you can have a better understanding of how you can set up your emails. So you can have inside of our CRM, you have calendars. People can come and book appointments with you and things like that. And those calendars set out notifications, you know, hey, you booked an appointment. Hey, your meeting's coming up in an hour. Your meeting's coming up in 5 minutes, whatever you want to set up for notifications. And so we can customize where those emails are coming from. And by saying book, then that's just kind of in people's minds, that's a calendar type of term. So let's see if we can verify these first. Again, this will just take a moment. So now you can see I've got the mail and the book set up here. So still not verified. Let's just come back and wait until these are ready to go. One other thing that's interesting is it says you can connect Google Postmaster. I've got some videos on how to do this as well, so you can actually view your stats here. I was under the impression Google Postmaster was being discontinued and phased out, but it looks like it's still available as of right now. So check on that, but if it's still around, definitely connect it in here, because then you can come in here and you can keep tabs on your spam rating and things like that. So it's a very helpful way for you to monitor your domain sending. So this one's good here. Now we can go to domain configuration. And this is where we can select the calendar domain. So I'm going to say book. So for all the calendar links, it's going to use book.gobonsai.ai. I also want to go back and set up the headers here. So for payments, I could also set up a separate one, which would be payments or secure.gobonsai.ai. You guys understand, so I don't want to take the whole video to set up all of these. But for one-on-one conversation, I'm just going to use mail. For bulk, I'm going to use mail. Same for campaign. So these are just kind of general emails that are sent out, so I'm going to use mail. For client portal domain, I'm going to set that up separately in the next section, so I'll come back and do this later. I'm just going to leave it blank. And then also you have for client portal one-time OTP, which is one-time notification, so people can get those. So we'll set that up later as well. So that's that, and then I'm going to come back here and I just want to do the last thing. So I'm going to come here and I also want to do my headers. It's very important here. So I'm going to say again, Go Bonsai, and I'm going to say hello. So again, this is just who it's showing it's from. You could say book here if you wanted to, or whatever you want to say, but I'm just going to keep that part consistent. But the back end is going to always show it's coming from book at gobonsai.ai. Another nice thing about doing this is, let's say I wanted to split this. So I have both of these here. I can split the risk 50-50 so that, let's say one of these domains gets flagged for another reason, then it will start using the other domain in here. So it's kind of a nice way for you to load balance your risk if you want to do that, if you're sending a lot of emails. For me right now, it's just basic, so I don't need to worry about that. And then so the remaining thing would be for me to set up a payments link. Actually, I'll just do that now, just for those of you following along. So we'll come in here for payments, and what's a good link for payments? We'll just call it secure.gobonsai.ai. Yep, we'll just say payments and then add and verify. So again, these are just for the emails domain side of things. So for example, the payments on the front end would use the link.gobonsai.ai, or if I have it embedded in a funnel, it's going to use that domain. What we're setting up now is strictly where the emails are coming from for the different parts of the app. So it can be a little confusing, but, and then the other thing I'll show you is if we go into Cloudflare and we go back to domains and we go into gobonsai.ai, into our DNS records, you can see we've got a ton of records added here now. You see all the DMARCs, but for different things. So here's dmarc.book, here's dmarc.mail, dmarc.payment. So it's adding all these different records for all these domains. One thing I like to do is come into these and comment. It's a little bit of extra work, but if you go to record attributes, you can say AlphaBlossom CRM email setup. So just the reason I do that is when you've got a bunch of records here and you need to edit something or find something, it's really confusing to try to figure out what are all these different records for. So if you can just come here and look at the comments, you can easily say, oh, these are my Google Workspace emails. Oh, this is my AlphaBlossom CRM setup. It's just an easier way for you to quickly find what you're looking for and get those things fixed. So let's come back here and verify this again. And it's still pending. So while we're doing that, I'm going to just set the headers here. So this is going to be Go Bonsai hello. But this is really it. So if you're comfortable with this, you don't need to watch the rest of the video, but I'm just going to finish setting these up now just so you can see the whole picture. And so if we go back to domain configuration, we can see now for payments, I've got payments here. So now any emails coming from payments are going to be sent from this domain here. It also allows it to keep it separate. So if I'm sending a bunch of emails through mail.gobonsai and they get flagged as spam, my payments email are still going to go through. So those are very important. So it's really good to have that separation here. For client portal, I'm just going to set up this last one. So let's just go back and do one more. So I'm going to say add domain. I'll say portal.gobonsai.ai. Looks good, so we can verify. And you know, when I'm setting up the headers, I could have who the email is from, name different, or even instead of hello@gobonsai.ai, I could have something else. So if I have a different email set up, I could use that instead. The key is the domain has to match. Gobonsai.ai has to be the same for all of these. Otherwise, you're going to have some serious problems with deliverability. And we'll authorize these. Verify. I have to come back one more time. While we're doing that, I'm just going to set up the headers here. So I'm just going to keep it consistent, but you could say members at GoBonsai if you wanted to. And then you could also do, if you had an email like members at GoBonsai, if you had the members email set up, you could do that, but I'm just going to keep it as hello. Everything's consistent. Save. And then we're going to come in here and verify this. Everything's verified. We are good to go. Oops, didn't quite go through, so we're going to have to give it one more run probably. So let's see. Yep, let's try it again. And we're good to go. So everything's got the SSLs issued. You can see they've got warm up, so it kind of tells you, right now this is just a visual, so it just kind of tells you, you don't want to just come in here to a brand new domain and send out 10,000 emails in one day. You want to slowly warm it up, you know, first few days, first couple of weeks, and start building up to your email limit. And then I'll just go back to configuration, and then I'm just going to select portal here. And then for my notification, that's also going to be coming from portal at gobonsai.ai. So that's it. Everything's done in terms of email. Now you're ready to start sending emails through the platform. And there's different settings on syncing and things like that. So this video is just on setting up the domains. Then when you come out here, you can see you've got different things like reply and forward settings. You can see your email analytics. It has a risk assessment as you start sending. Also tells you about issues with bouncing delivery rates and things like that. And then this is where you can set up your Google Postmaster so you can view that inside of here instead of having to go to another app to view that. So that's it for emails. It's a little overwhelming, but as you can see, I set up 4 different email setups here in just maybe 15 minutes or so. So, you know, that's me explaining and things like that. If I was really just flying through this, probably 5 or 10 minutes to get the whole thing set up. So it's very straightforward to do. Very, very important though, if you're going to be sending emails through the CRM. Okay, and the last domain we're going to set up is going to be client portal. So if you have courses, if you're going to have a community, for example, I have my AlphaBlossom community here. This is a free community. You're welcome to join. You can go to members.alphablossom.com, and I just help people high level, support my members, and it's open to anybody, free to join. You can post in here. I'm just posting stuff all the time in terms of updates, valuable tips, and things like that. So we're going to show you how to set up this domain, but this also is part of a greater portal where you can come in here and you can take a course. You can view, depending on how it's set up, you can view files here. You can view invoices and things like that. And this is there's a new version that's coming out, which is going to be a lot more customer friendly. So we're going to show you how to do that. So we're just going to go into membership, communities, and settings. And then we're going to set up our domain. So you can see I already got a temporary domain here, which is this garbled information. So first I'm going to change that to GoBonsai and then app.clienthub.net. So we're going to update that. This is kind of the default platform URL. So you can see gobonsai.app.clientclub.net. It's a lot cleaner than what they provide you, so I recommend changing that. But we're also going to set a custom domain. So we're just going to go members.gobonsai.ai and then add the domain. Just like the other ones, we're going to just let Cloudflare connect directly via the API. So there's really very little for us to do here. And once this is set up, we've got our memberships set up. Everything is good to go. And our platform is completely set up and ready for business. So once again, we're just going to authorize this in Cloudflare. It's going to add just one single record, which is members as a CNAME. It tells you the value is clientportal.ludicrous.cloud. So that's the GoHighLevel's backend value where it's going to be pointing. And that's it. So now we can go to members.gobonsai.ai. It's going to take a little bit of time to work through the system, but once it works through, then we'll be able to see this here. I've noticed with memberships, it does take a little bit longer. So for me, it's been 15 minutes usually before this message goes away, but it could be a lot sooner than that. But I'm confident it's set up properly, so I'm not going to spend any more time on this. And then the one other thing to show you is if you refresh this page, again, this is where things can get really confusing. So now I see members here. So again, you can just come in here. I'll go through and do this after the video ends, but you can come in here and say AlphaBlossom CRM membership portal. And that's it. So now you can find that very easily. If you need to find your membership portal, you've got that record in here. You got that comment. So right here, easy to find, easy to set up. So that's it. That is the last of our domain setup. Now you are ready for business. You've got all your domains set up. So I personally recommend, even if you're not using them right away, just come in here in one setting, get them all set up, and then you don't have to worry about doing it again. From now on, once you set something up, you can just pick which domain you want to use and you're good to go. All right, guys and gals, that was a little bit longer video than normal, but this is super important to make sure you get these set up right, particularly the email domains. That's a big hang up for a lot of people, and you may think you get them set up right, but if you don't, you're going to have problems with your emails going to spam. It's going to be super frustrating. It's important to get this started right off the gate. So hopefully you found this video helpful, and I would really recommend just sitting down and doing these all in one go, getting them all set up. If you just go through, it'll probably take you 15 minutes, 30 minutes max to just set up a handful of domains, unless you're setting up a bunch of them, and it's super easy. And once they're set up, they're done. Now you can just pick them as you go along and add new things to your CRM. So again, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, just make sure to click that subscribe button down below, like this video, leave a comment, and I will be happy to reply. You've got my link down below where you can get a 30-day free trial for GoHighLevel, along with a free bootcamp to get you up and running quickly. Also, you've got my free community down below, so you can join there, and I'm happy to support you inside of there as well. And I will see you in the next video.